Yeah, he did well to get there. He's 10 or 15 yards short of the green, and that's a pretty good shot from there, as thick as that grass was.
One of the leaders, Nakajima, 1 under. Playing at the 430-yard 11th hole. Now Longer.
Longer's hit a longer drive here and has about 165. He's playing a 6-iron.
Beautifully played. Bernard Longer has that to go 1 under. What about Nicklaus out there? Well, let's go ahead now to Tom Watts.
I think that was Nicklaus's ball just past the pin there, Jack, on that hole.
Tom Watson's 130 yards, pretty deep lie. He's going to land it way short and try and make it run up. That's a good shot, Dave.
Especially after that one at the last hole that got away from him so much. He got it whole wide.
Beautiful touch there. Beautiful touch.
So the situation very close, tight, exciting, and dramatic here at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, and we'll return for more third-round action in a moment.
Better than 25,000 at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, wondering which of the 6 players atop the leaderboard might emerge to claim the lead as his own. Tom Watson at 1 under playing 10. He's at the top of your screen. Ben Crenshaw currently negotiating 13. He's at the middle of your screen. And Tommy Nakajima, currently on the 11th hole, is at the bottom of your screen. For Tom Watson, it has been a round where he has lost 2 strokes. He began the day as the co-leader with Mark Wiebe at 3 under par. We check in now with Jack Nicklaus, who began the day at 2 under. He is currently at 1 over. He is putting for birdie. Jack barely touches it. And it never comes back left. Mark Wiebe, by the way, remember his super shot out from the trees? He bogeyed that hole, so he drops another stroke to even. We've spoken frequently of the spectacular round, the record-tying round of Keith Clearwater, the rookie on the PGA Tour who won the Colonial earlier this year. As he came off the 18th green, I asked him how he engineered that great round.
Well, you know, people have been asking me all day. It's just one of those things. You go out and you play good shots. You play conservatively. You've got to be very patient and open. And fortunately, I kept it in play all day, and I gave myself a lot of opportunities. I made the putts when I was there. You know, there's nothing secret or really overly creative about a day like this. You just do a lot of the basics correct, and you putt well. The day turns out well.
Now, you've put some good rounds together this year in your first year on the tour. Is this indicative of the way you're playing lately, or does this come out of a little bit of left field?
Well, you know, quite honestly, I wasn't playing very well coming into this week, and the first day was real sketchy. I hit a lot of bad shots. The last 2 days, my ball striking's improved a little bit. The main thing about an Open, though, you don't have to be doing anything great. I just wanted to kind of keep myself in there, keep the ball in play, not make a lot of mistakes, and hope that the putter was working. And again, you know, I was just listening to Watson talk about the golf course out here. It's just so tough. You've just got to, you don't have to do great things, but you have to just keep your patience and keep it in play, and you'll have a chance to score it well.
On the 10th green, this is Tom Watson putting for the lead, a birdie attempt. He had the lead, he lost it, and he'll stay tied. Keith Clearwater tying a 21-year-old record set by Reeves McKee on this course in 1966. He actually went to high school not 25 miles from here in Walnut Creek and currently lives in Orem, Utah. He is a graduate of BYU. We check in once again with Ben Crenshaw. The putter he's holding is bent a little bit. Tommy Nakajima putting as well on the right. Ben has had that putter since he was a teenager. As Nakajima pars. And he once threw a club in disgust and bent the putter, and he's had it ever since. And it was a little misguided there.
That's got to be a bogey, Al. But if he makes that one. Remember, he was left the green there on his par 3. Pitch back. 2 putts for 4.
Nakajima stays at 1 under par as the sunshine pokes through just for a moment there on Ben Crenshaw. You want to talk about some failing fortunes? How about Bob Tway? Began the day at 1 over. He is now 9 over. Ray Floyd is now 6 over, began at 1 over. And Greg Norman is 4 over, began the day at 1 over. Here's Tom Watson. On the tee at the 11th hole, a 430-yard par 4. Once again, we go to Jack Nicklaus to describe what types of challenges this hole presents.
430-yard 11th hole, par 4, slightly uphill, has a very wide tree line but a very narrow fairway. I think a lot of fellas are going to fall asleep on this tee shot. As a result, find themselves in a rough that they can't get to the green in 2. There's going to be a lot of bogeys made on this hole.
They're peering through some of the trees that line this course at the Olympic Club in San Francisco. It's very interesting. As soon as you leave the course grounds, there are no trees. Only the ones that have been planted in recent years. And Dave, some of the trees that they've placed here are in strange positions. I'm told the story of one of the caretakers here cutting down a limb of one of the huge cypress trees on the 18th hole a few years ago, and 105 balls fell out of the branch.
I wonder he didn't get killed then. It's not the trees are in strange places, Al. It's sometimes your golf balls in strange places.
That's right. Okay, Mark Weavy. Boy, did he show some stuff hanging on that last hole. He's even. You know how kids play on the basketball court and dream that they're Dr. J, or on an ice rink perhaps that they're Wayne Gretzky? Mark Weavy, when he was a young player, used to stand over a putt and say, "I'm beating Tom Watson for the U.S. Open."
Now he's playing with him for the
right.
Open. I think every young golfer's done that in some fashion.
Bernhard Langer, who is even on the tee at the 12th hole. He is 1 behind the leaders, of which there are 4. You want to be very straight off the tee on this hole.
Not a long hole, and it's basically straight away, but the way the fairway's cut a little, it looks like you might want to play a little cut shot down there, just mainly to put the ball in the fairway.
You heard the clink of the
Center of the fairway.
The metal wood right down the center, Ed, indeed. We switch to 14. Lenny Clements is there. He is still at 1 under par. He is putting to take the lead on this par 4, 417-yard hole.
Al, he really had a great break to get to this point. He had driven the ball in the right rough again, and his iron shot hit short of the left bunker, jumped over the bunker, and has left him this opportunity.
Judy, it's marvelous to watch these players of relatively little experience hanging in there on a pressure-filled day like this.
Absolutely. I've noticed that he has played quickly out in the fairways. And I don't know if that's the pressures of the U.S. Open or his normal style of play.
So Lenny Clements will stay at 1 under par. In 1975, Lenny Clements was the best high school golfer in California. Jack Nicklaus starts it out left.
He's hit it down the fairway.
That's a cut, though, Al. You cut it right back into the fairway. Both of those drives were perfect, Longers and Nicklaus.
Still a grouping at the top of the leaderboard. They are Lenny Clements and Keith Clearwater. They are 2 surprises.
All right, we're back at the Olympic Club. This was just a few moments ago. Lenny Clements even, the 16th, the 609-yard par 5. And there we go. He's back in the tie for the lead at 1 under. And we've seen a lot of that this week here. We had 4 in the opening round. Mike Wiebe holed one out at 12 yesterday for an eagle. So Lenny Clements with that gets back to 1 under, tied with Nakajima, Watson, and Clearwater for the lead. Tom Watson.
You know, Jack, people may be wondering why you're saying Clearwater all the time, and he's not making any birdies and bogeys. He finished, what, about 3 hours ago?
Yeah, out early, got his job done. Like Saturday afternoons off. 64 for Keith Clearwater. And which ties the open record here at the Olympic, course record, and everybody has come back to him so far. There's a lot of golf yet to be played here. As we look at some other scores, and all of those people are very much in this. Now, Tom Watson.
Did he hit it? Right on line.
Seems to be a little firmer the last few holes with the putter, though, David, don't you think?
A little better now. He's, he's got off to such a shaky start there with the first hole, and then 3 putts at third hole. Bogey 4 or 5, whichever one it was, 4, I think. You know, that's a real shot in the stomach to you from leading this tournament to out of the lead almost immediately. But he's a tough player.
Mark Wiebe played an amazing shot, David, to get it to this point. He was standing in the bunker, had to take a very flat backswing at the ball and pop it straight up in the air. Just played a marvelous shot.
Something like Longer must have played a minute ago then, because he was down on the steel standing in the bunker and played the shot.
I think it was about the same, yes. I'll tell you another fellow who you've got to really look up to is Jim Thorpe. He was 5 over par after 5 holes. He is still 5 over par, and he has about a 2-footer for a birdie, which will get him to 2 over for the championship. And he's just plugged along, and he stayed in there.
Left. Well,
Well, it's that point in the tournament, isn't it, David, where patience we hear so much about.
that's exactly what I was thinking, Jack, that the patience that you needed to shoot at the center of the green when he was in the rough. Maybe not so much at the flag. Talking about Mark Wiebe there.
So Nakajima.
Jack, he got a very good break here. He hit a pull hook that hit the trees, and it dropped back out in the fairway. Now, he's got about 200 yards to the green, but if he hadn't hit the trees, he could have been in a disastrous position. He's got to hit a big hook here. He's got a 4-iron.
Just short there.
Just short of the green.
It's coming back towards you, though, a little bit.
It stopped there. That's about the best position he could hope to get in, because had he hit enough club to get to the green, I think he would have gone through the green.
And you see the bright sunlight now, which changes this course completely, and a little breeze coming up. So it's going to be a little different golf course here in the closing hours of this third round. And let's hear what Jack Nicklaus has to say about one of the golf holes here.
13th hole, 186-yard par 3, is partially blinded by a bunker in front. This is the hole where most of the fellows are going to be playing 4 or 5 iron, but they don't want to miss the green. To the left, there's a steep bank that kicks the ball away from the green, and to the right, there's a slope that is very hard to recover from. This is a harder par 3 than it looks, so I think the fellows are going to have to watch what they're doing here.
Well, it has given several people a little bit of trouble. James Thorpe, who, as Bob Rosberg was saying just a moment ago, is still there.
Well, he knows about playing in opens and what you have to do. So he must have made that birdie there at the 12th hole.
He did make birdie there.
And they make another one here. Stops. Thorpe, Wiebe, and Watson. Here's Tom.
Wind coming a lot more out of the right than you think, Dave. Hard to feel, but it is coming out of the right.
Looked like he started that to the right. Did he? A little draw?
And it did.
Stay on.
All right.
Stay on. All right, let's take 5 seconds here so our local stations can identify themselves.
This is 24, KVUE-TV, Austin.
This is Bernard Longer at the 14th hole, par 4, and isn't that nice?
Jack, he drove the ball about 320 yards on this hole, much
Did he
farther
really?
than he wanted to. Went all the way down to the bottom of the hill.
417-yard hole.
Actually, that makes it a harder shot, Jack. I think that's
Yes.
what Ed was trying to point out. You can't see the surface you're trying to land on.
All right, we go back now to Mark Wiebe at 13.
Now, he's trying to see. You can't see the wind, obviously. He's trying to see which way the trees are moving there to see just how hard it may be blowing. It's a little left side, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Way to the
Gander down there. Oh, we've seen an awful lot this week.
Well,
Down
as Bob says, you can't feel that wind, and if you start it, straight or say on the left third of the green, the wind will move it that way. And as Jack pointed out in the hole model, it bounces that way because it lands on the side of the hill.
Leaderboard. I wonder what it was like playing this hole before the trees were there.
It may have been windier,
I know.
but it wasn't as shady.
Started way out to the right. Greg Norman at the 18th. He is 5 over for the tournament. Which may not be out of sight for tomorrow morning, but
Well, with a player like him, you're right, Jack. He's the kind of player that can do like Seve did today, go out and make about 6 or 7 birdies and do a Keith Clearwater and put 64 up and watch everybody try to match that.
Lenny Clements at the hated 17th.
Jack, this shot's about 195 yards straight up the hill. He looked at this ball very carefully, and I just wonder if he's a little bit hesitant to ground his club. The ball rolls so readily on this fairway.
Is he in a little bit of a divot there?
there.
Judy, yeah.
He may be just on the edge of one. I had taken a look at it, though, and I didn't think...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hit it fat, sounded like. Well, if you have to miss, that's not too bad, though, Jack. Right there in front. You can pick what kind of shot you want to play, whether you want to run it through there or pitch it all the way on the green.
Yeah, you miss it right or left at 17, and you can have a horror story.
Just think 5, that's all.
Jack Nicklaus.
A really great shot to get to this position.
Mark Wiebe. 13. Oh, my.
That was really not a very good shot, Jack. He had a pretty good lie.
He did?
Yeah, he really did. He's pitching back into the wind. I really thought he was going to get that ball pretty close. I think he's lost his concentration, though. He's had a little problem back there at 12, and that hurts.
Now Longer is even, just one shot behind the leaders, who at the moment are Clements, Nakajima, Watson, and Clearwater. But don't sneeze, because the lead would change. Now back at 13, Wiebe's third shot. Langer got his par to stay even. Well, what do you think about that, folks? Is that true grit?
Let's just play in position there, Jack, as Norman gets ready to try to make his birdie at 18.
Well, Greg has that left for the par to keep him 6 shots behind the leaders at the moment. My goodness, Mark Wiebe had a great par.
Well, it was exciting. It may have been ugly, but it's all his, right?
Not beautiful on that card. The Enchanted Cottage, that card. Oh, Nakajima. Steady as she goes. Now Lenny Clements. One of the group of leaders. Just short of the 17th green. He looks relaxed enough, David.
He does. A little grin there. That's good. And you got to try to find some way to get relaxed. And this time he has a pretty good lie. It looks as though he's going to try to pitch the ball all the way on the green. Oh, you didn't want to hit it there, Lenny. Oh, not past the hole.
That'll be a tough putt.
Hasn't won on tour yet, but another one of the fine young players that come out. Won money every year, played very well.
This was the defending champion just a few moments ago at the 18th. Oh.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's Gravity City there. All right, 76 today, 7 over on the tournament. 8 shots behind the leaders, who at the moment are Watson, Nakajima, Clements, and Keith Clearwater. Nakajima at the 15th.
The 7-iron, Jack, about 150 yards.
Oh, beautifully played. Just a little more, and he might have been in the hole.
Well, if it hit a little harder, it would have bounced forward. You know, sometimes you get a little hard spot on the green and get a good break when you need it.
Back at 18. And there is Norman for par. Six shots behind the leaders. That's Lake Merced in the background. And that big bunker just gives this hole its character, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right in the front.
raised up a little bit, and it's about 5 yards between that and the start of the green, the front bunker I'm talking about. Oh, is that a good-looking shot?
Langer in the land to join the leaders here. And now we have a beautiful sunshiny day. Clements up at 17. This a difficult putt for a par.
Jack, you wouldn't want this putt at any time. But
Oh.
for a par, you really don't want it.
I bet, Judy.
Did you get a chance to look at which way it may break, Judy?
I would think it has to move to his left. Most of all, it's going to be very fast.
It's going to move left plenty, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good look.
Couldn't hit it much
Hold on,
better. Look
hold
out
on.
now.
Once it gets started down that hill, Jack, that's why I said when he pitched it by the hole, it's almost anywhere but there. Of course, he knows it too. It's a lot easier to say than to do.
There's Mac O'Grady, who's playing with him. He's at +1. He's very much in this tournament.
I really think Lenny has showed signs of not having won on this back nine. He's played out of the rough every hole but 2, and he's had to work for what he's gotten.
Then when he put it in the fairway, he got in a little bit of an old divot. So
That's right.
that doesn't seem fair.
Was it you that said nobody said it was supposed to be fair?
Well, it wasn't me originally. I think it was Mr. Robert T. Jones, Jr., known as Bobby.
This is for bogey to put him at even par.
Now, this will have to break too, Jack. It'll slip out to his right. If he doesn't hit it solid, it'll move pretty fast. And left to right punch, you see O'Grady's mark there just in front of it. Nope.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Right in. So he'll go to even to join Scott Simpson and Bernard Langer as we look down at this marvelous setting, the 18th at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, and we'll be back with more third-round action on this gorgeous day in just a moment.
Tommy Nakajima putting for a birdie at the 15. This go 2 under and put him into the lead. Gets his head stills, running well. Oh, nearly spun out, but it went in. Beautiful putt. So Nakajima now leading by himself. This goes the 18th and Al Trautman.
Well, Peter, of course, we saw Tommy Nakajima's putter work there, but for Raymond Floyd, that was a consistent problem today, Raymond, at 7 over par. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, Al, I went through a streak of 3 putts in a row at 6, 7, and 8, and in my career, I've never done that. And I've had fits on the greens all week, and that's why my scoring's so high.
Is this just a continuation of problems you've been having over the past couple of months?
I haven't been putting well, and I've been a good putter throughout my career, but nothing like this. I had a round the first day that could have really been in the low 60s, and I just made 2 birdies, and it's just taken in. You know, it's put a lot of pressure on my game, and if I miss a green, I'm pitching it. No matter where I pitch it, I don't make the putt. So it's tough, you know. But it's part of it. You got to do that to win.
And a man you were playing with today, Greg Norman. Greg, you started at 1 over, wound up at 5 over. Tell me about your adventure.
Well, a little bit of the same lines as Ray there, Al. If you miss the greens, you got to get it up and down. That's the secret to winning a major championship, and I haven't been doing that all week, and I've missed quite a few greens. I've made a couple of 3 putts like Ray has. Just inconsistent. I mean, I'm either short or I'm either long with the stroke. So I really haven't had the feel for the greens or the confidence to putt well on them.
Greg, you might be pessimistic considering the round that you've had, but yet the way the championship is going, you really can't afford to be, can you?
Well, not really. I mean, I got to think about doing something like Keith Clearwater did today, I suppose. 64 out here will get you right back into contention. As we saw, he might even end up leading the tournament at the end of the day. But, you know, the golf course with the sun coming out and the drying conditions, it's just getting tougher and tougher.
Greg Norman, Ray Floyd, thank you very much. We continue now with the 87th U.S. Open. Raymond Floyd at 7 over par, Greg Norman at 5 over. Let's go to Jim McKay.
Maybe you've just joined us. Let's do a little bit update on this United States Open Golf Championship. When this day began, we had Tom Watson and Mark Wiebe tied for the lead. Since then, the story has really been a young man named Keith Clearwater, who very early in the day went out and shot 64 to tie the course record set by Reeves McVie 21 years ago. He's been part of the story. The other part of the story has been the golf course, because none of the leaders have been able to go under par today. Tommy Nakajima has taken the lead now, as you know, 2 under par for the championship, but he's even par for the day. No Oriental has ever won the United States Open, although T.C. Chen of Taiwan made a pretty good run at it a couple of years ago. Tommy Nakajima, the leader now, however, scores under par today. We might tell you Clearwater 64, Mahaffey 67, John Mahaffey, Seve Ballesteros 68, and then we had all at 69, Mark McCumber, Curtis Strange, Dan Pohl, Gary Hallberg, Kenny Knox, Dale Douglas at age 51, oldest player in the field, shot a 69 and is 2 over for the championship and still obviously a contender, 4 shots out of the lead. Nick Price of South Africa also had a 69. So that's about where we stand right now. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Nakajima by 1 now over Tom Watson, and Clearwater by 2 over Lunger, Clements, and Simpson. We'll return with more golf action after this message and a word from our local stations.
There you go. Meet Tyler and Eugene. Watching this great championship. This is, we're coming to the end of the 3rd day, and I don't think there's been a better one in recent memory for excitement and shots holed, dramas of missed putts in a lovely setting. And the weather, well, the best we've had all week. Here's Clements. This was recorded, his second to the final hole. Clements at even par. Oh, and a spin off the bank, and that's finished very nicely for him. Or has it finished yet? Still moving, and finally comes to a stop. Wiebe. 14th. For a birdie, and he's just not happening for him. Lenny Clements walking up to the 18th, and what a good performance he's put on today. Not really used to the pressure of this sort of occasion, but he's kept things going very well indeed. He started at level par, and he's still level par, but with a chance here on the final hole for a 69. Great crowds looking down on this short finishing hole. There's 343 yards. Don't always have to get monstrously long holes to make the course difficult. I think it's interesting that people talk of this course and Merion and Cypress Point and holes at Pebble Beach that only measure 100 yards or so as the great holes, and yet designers throughout the world keep making golf courses 7,000 odd yards long, which is and they make it almost impossible for people to walk around the course carrying their clubs anymore. Must be theory behind that. Nicklaus at the 16th, his second shot on this 609-yard par 5, and he needs to just come out of the rough. Well, it doesn't look to be lying too badly, but that's just an awkward little shot. Jim Thorpe, he's battled away today, still 2 over. This for a birdie, and it just tippled in. That'll help a lot. Started the day 2 under, now 1 over. And Nakajima leading the way, remember, at 2 under par. And cool Clearwater, well, he finished early. Keith Clearwater 1 under. Now Nakajima, here's the championship leader at the 16th. Has he found the fairway? Yes, he has.
Yes, he has, Peter. He had a very good shot out of there with about a 4-iron, and I think he's in position, put himself in about as good a position as he could have from there.
The 609-yard 16th here at the Olympic Club, a real 3-shotter. Yes, there's 2 bunkers. either side. It is said that Bobby Jones, many moons ago, got on this green in 2. Here's Langer.
In 2 what, Peter?
Well, they keep telling me he knocked it on in 2, but the trees weren't there then, though, Ed. Maybe a different tee. Good shot from Langer here at the 16th. A lovely afternoon. And there's one of the birthday boys, Byron Nelson, one of the great men of golf. As keen and as eager as ever to follow the fortunes of the golfers, and particularly Tom Watson. A lovely view down the 18th. Only 340 odd yards. But the 18th at Royal Lytham St Anne's and the 18th at St Andrews isn't... there are 2 great finishing holes around about this sort of length. Mike O'Grady. And I suspect he might be getting a drop from the television tower there. Frank Hannigan of the USJ is with us. And Frank, a little consternation because of the number of qualifiers for the final 2 rounds, changing your usual format of playing in 2s?
Yeah, we much prefer to play 2s, Peter. We feel the game flows better that way. The players are on the course a shorter period of time. But because of that, we had to back up and play 3s. Now, tomorrow, with more time, with an hour later finish, we will revert and play 2s on the 4th round.
Jim Thorpe at the 15th. Good shot. Oh, better than good. Superb shot. And suddenly, if he can get that in, he's back to level par. Once again, challenging for the lead. So it really has been a remarkable 3 days, and it's not quite over yet. There's 3 or 4 holes left to go. Tom Watson, he really has had an up and down day. Started at 3 under, went to level, and got it back to where he is now, 1 under par. So what wouldn't he give for a nice, well, par finish? That stopped rather quickly, but a good shot. The best finish so far over these closing holes was Dennis Watson, who birdied 16th, 17th, and 18th. Oh, what wouldn't any of these players give for a finish like that? But that, of course, of finish of Watson's was in the previous round. O'Grady, well, that's his 3rd shot at the 18th. We go to Nakajima.
About 155 yards, Peter. I think he's going with a 7-iron.
Oh, now what happened there? And you saw what happened. He flopped it away in the bunker. It was almost as if he caught the heel of the club in the ground, and he chopped it away right. Weeby at the 15th, 1 over par. And a tired shot into that right-hand bunker. And this is... well, as Judy Rankin was saying, that some of these younger players at this stage just showing their inexperience, a little bit of nerves creeping in, maybe a little bit of tiredness. Jack Nicklaus' 3rd shot at the 16th.
Peter, he's blocked by those trees. He has to play quite a hook, and I would guess he's going to play an 8-iron and try to hook it around the trees. If he doesn't do that, his only other option would be to hit it very, very low underneath those limbs and try to run it on the green.
Well, he's chased it through the back of the green.
He didn't have much chance to stop it with the amount of hook that he had to put on it.
Langer next to play from the centre of the fairway. He started at 2 under. He's even now, so that's 2 over for today. He's played some very good shots today. He's had lots of chances to hold putts, but they haven't gone in for him. He's got one of the coolest heads in the business. Well, he's got his sand iron out here.
Peter, the wind has been swirling around. It should be behind him and from the right, but I think when Nakajima was hitting, the wind was actually against him here at the green. He's hit 2 perfect shots. You couldn't put it in a better position. He's got about 100 yards to the hole.
Oh, good shot. The course is in magnificent condition. The fairways are almost like a smooth carpet, a tight Wilton carpet. It's Clements for a birdie at the 18th, having just spun in off the bank of the bunker. This for a 3. Finish at 1 under par. This for a 69. Oh, well, not the sort of putt you could have a great run at. Round of 70 for Lenny Clements, who finishes level with the card, equivalent to 3 rounds of 70. Very nice playing indeed. Not a great setting. Watson, 15th. See how close it is. Keith Clearwater started his round at 8:20 this morning, so he's been finished since around about 1 o'clock. He had lots of time to think about the wonders of his round. A 64 tied the course record. 10 players have broken 70 today, and so far 6 players have. It's 11 now with Clements moving under 70, and 6 players have scored 70. This is Weeby for a 3. He missed the green, remember, in the bunker, and didn't get his bunker shot very close to the hole. So he's going to drop certainly another stroke here.
He was buried in the bunker, Peter. It's one ball that did bury.
It's been a funny day, Bob, hasn't it? Watching them toing and froing, and the lead ever changing. Promises to be a great day tomorrow.
I'll say. And I'll tell you, Jim Thorpe, you know, he's right there again.
Yep.
For another birdie.
Looks good. Oh, just when he needed it. Wonderful putt.
Peter, his ball is buried here. I don't believe he can stop it by the hole.
No, gallops by. They're in 4 on this par 5. 16th. Mac O'Grady dropped a stroke. Got down in 2 from the sand, which was pretty good going. And so we're coming to the end of this 3rd round. What a day it's been. Plenty more to come. We'll take a break.
Whose idea was this?
Engineering.
I thought it came out of advanced design.
Yeah, but that was after the committee revised it.
Sometimes a big idea can turn into a white elephant. But at Martin Marietta, we test designs while they're still ideas by using computer simulation. So we can fine-tune a communication system or predict a space crash behavior before problems begin to multiply.
The question is how we can explain this.
Martin Marietta, masterminding tomorrow's technology.
You built a name in business for all the world to see. So build in the protection of USS Angie.
Across the USA, the big name for protecting business is USF&G Insurance. Ask your independent agent.
We got you covered, America, through every business day. USF&G covers the USA.
Today's weather brought to you by Michelin. Bright, sunny, and seasonably warm, partial clouds developing by midday. This afternoon, scattered showers with a chance of severe thunderstorms and local flooding. The barometer falling fast. Watch for the possibility of snow turning to freezing rain later this evening. So don't leave the house without your trusty raincoat, boots, and most of all, your Michelin all-weather tires.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
John Houseman for the investment firm of Smith Barney.
This gentleman just wiped me out with a roll of the dice. But when it comes to real investing, real money, consider Smith Barney. Where wiser heads than mine scrutinize every possibility, because good investments don't happen by chance. Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
Well, there's a rather unusual pictorial view of three of the leaders here. Tom Watson has seized the lead by himself again. He led at the beginning of the day, and he does again. Nakajima on the right had the lead. He just made a bogey after Watson's birdie. Nakajima has dropped a stroke back and is tied with the man in the middle, Keith Clearwater. Ben Crenshaw on the 18th fairway. Short par 4, but this green is something to see. Tiny green, but okay, that didn't pull back. If the one starts rolling back, it can roll back a long way. The flagstick on the back today, it's been on the front the past 2 days. We're told that Keith Clearwater, who shot his 64 many, many hours ago, has been back in his hotel watching the telecast. So congratulations again, Keith, on that record-tying round today.
And stay up late, because you're not going to tee off till late tomorrow, right? It's a long time between when he finished and when he gets to start tomorrow.
That's right. Ben Crenshaw, whom you just saw hit onto the 18th green, is 1 over par for the championship now. Crenshaw, who started the day 1 under, so he's 2 over on today's round. Now, look at Dale Douglas again. If you hadn't been with us earlier, shot 69. These people, somebody goes out and shoots 64 from this group tomorrow, they've got a shot at it.
That's just what Greg Norman said. I mean,
Yep.
it's
You see the 16th there, that big swooping, what do they call that thing? A boomerang of a hole?
Dogleg.
Yeah, Norman's country, you know, they
That's
throw
right.
this boomerang. That's what it looks like. Longer. If he makes this, he gets within a shot of the lead again. How many times have we said that today? But he didn't. And ooh.
This might turn out to be like Shinnecock last year, when all of a sudden, tomorrow afternoon, at some point, you may have 8 or 9 or 10 people with a chance to win.
We did have 9 tied for the lead last year with 9 holes to play, and one of them was not Ray Floyd at that point who won. Let's go down to Al Troutwig.
All right, Jim, I'm with Lenny Clements, one of the challengers for the top of this leaderboard today. Lenny, for someone who has never won on the tour and has had limited success, how do you explain your sudden rise in a tournament filled with so much pressure?
Well, I feel like I'm more in my surroundings here. I like tough golf courses and tough conditions where par means something, and I get my adrenaline flowing a little more, and if you shoot 70, it's a good score. And sometimes 68 and you feel awful, and out here 70 and you feel great.
70 is not only a good score. I mean, when you have a Greg Norman shooting a 4 over and a Ray Floyd shooting a 6 over, you're talking a great score. Here's Bernard Langer. He made the putt. Lenny, does spending as much time in California as you do have any advantage for you in coming to this course? Have you played here before? Have you had any great experiences up here that maybe give you a little bit of an extra edge?
Oh, I haven't played up here but once before I came, and it's nice to be back in California. It really is. The greens are fast, which I like very much, and it's nice to not be playing in a lot of hot, humid weather. I like it very much.
Now, you've struggled for a long time to get onto the tour. I know that you've had your battles. What you're doing right now must make those hard days, those rough days, very sweet.
It feels better. You know, I've been playing better the last year and a half, made a little money, and I do feel that my time's just around the corner, and who knows, if I can go out and make a few putts tomorrow, who knows?
All right, Jim, Lenny Clements right in the middle of this ever-changing leaderboard.
Lenny Clemens, a man of average height, 5 feet 8 inches tall, David, 160 pounds. But this game does not go to the giant, although he has a chance to. Be it Jumbo Ozaki or somebody like that. We're going to take a break as you look at the scores, and then we'll be bringing them in at Olympic.
At the dreaded 17. Whoops, steady. That's the tilt to this fairway.
That's 17 for you, Jack.
This is Ben Crenshaw at 18. That's for par, and he finishes 3 rounds, plus 1, 3 shots behind the leader.
That's still in good shape, though.
A few minutes ago, Nakajima at the 17th tee.
Jack, he's pushed that ball well to the right.
He didn't like... Edward, we heard that ended up on a piece of clothing down there. Is that true?
Well, I'm going that way, Jack. I'll certainly check it out as soon as I get there.
Okay. But it's not one of Nakajima's best.
May not be too bad if he's... Forget the sweatshirt for a minute. He'll get relief from that. But he's in the bare part where the gallery's been walking, Jack, and that's a break rather than the high rough between the fairway and the gallery ropes.
Down in that general vicinity. Tom Watson leading the tournament at the moment at 2 under with Nakajima, Clearwater at 1 under. Clements and Langer is even with Scott Simpson. And Jim Thorpe still on the course, coming back beautifully. He's at an even par. So tomorrow it's going to be a real scramble. There's the scoring tent. Ben Crenshaw. Larry Mize, Craig Statler. Larry Mize finished at 1 over, the Masters champion. Will be very much in the scene tomorrow. Scott, important part of any round. There's the drop that Nakajima got at 17.
Jack, he was indeed on a piece of clothing there, I guess a sweatshirt, and of course that rule that you might want to bring in Frank Hannigan.
Yeah, Frank Hannigan.
Well, the sweatshirt or an article of clothing is an obstruction. In this case, it's a movable obstruction. What he does is he removes the movable obstruction. And then the important thing is he doesn't place it under there. He must drop it.
Which he does.
Looked like a good drop. It's very important.
He's been working on his drop lately, he told me, and it...
Bernard Longer. He's in the shade, Ed. Is he all right?
Jack, his problem is going to be one of making a full swing. The lie in thick grass isn't all that bad, but he can't make a big swing at it. He's punched it out short of the green there. Very good position. Couldn't have done much better.
Yep, steady. Just in the first cut there. That's what he has. Back at 16, Tom Watson, the leader, third shot. And safely on. Oh, Tom Watson, who led, co-leader, and flipped a little, coming back as we watch Nakajima now. The second shot here at 17. And he, too, will put it up right in the throat. Par 5 for the members here, and they shorten the tee a bit and make it a par 4 for the pros, and the two amateurs who were here for this United States Open. How about Jack Nicklaus, Ed?
Well, he's got a pretty good lie. He's in the light rough and about 180 yards up this hill and into the wind. So it's really 180 yards would be a normal 5-iron shot, but it's probably about a 3-iron shot right now. I'm told he has a 4, but I think he'll have to hit it pretty well to get it to the pin.
He might be playing a shooter there, Ed. Squirt out of the rough there a little bit.
Well, I've been watching Jack swing, and he's been kind of what I call undercutting the ball and picking it out of those lies, and it really hasn't been flying a lot when he's been in that situation.
And he, too, puts it right there and is next to Nakajima's ball.
You were right, Ed.
I'd like to remind you that on ABC's Monday Night Baseball, division rivals clash when the Montreal Expos and Tim Raines meet first place St. Louis, or Kansas City battles Oakland. Check local listings for the game in your area. All right, let's go to Al Troutwig.
All right, Jack, these two gentlemen are wondering whether they might ever get sick of each other. They've played 3 days together, and they might play 4. They're both 1 over par. First, Ben Crenshaw. Ben, as a man so easily admired for a positive outlook, give me your opinion of what happened out there today.
I plainly struggled the whole way around. I hit a couple of good shots early, but I was searching all day. I still feel a little blocky, but I aged about 5 years today.
But still right in the middle of it, the way this tournament is going.
Yeah, I'm playing on determination. I made a lot of gutty saves today, but I feel like I'm really pretty close, but I need some work.
Now, Larry, even though you are the Masters champion, it was a very rare list that included you for favorites in this tournament. Yet you, like Ben, have been grinding it out, and now going into tomorrow, you are right there too.
Yeah, that's right. And I think grinding is a good word, as Ben can say. He's been watching me grind all week, but a lot like Ben, I'm just I'm trying to be very patient and just trying to get the most I can out of my game. I think it's a real test in a U.S. Open, and this is no different. And I'm just trying to get everything I can. Today was another struggle. I hit the ball in a few spots that you just can't hit it, and made a double early and then a few bogeys. And but I made some birdies, and I was happy with the way I hung in there, at least to keep myself in contention.
Is going through the pressure squeeze of a major worth as much as they say it is? I mean, do you feel a little different out there knowing that you survived that playoff?
Oh, well, sure. And majors are fun. I think they're the toughest courses we play all year most of the time, and you test yourself. You see how good you really are, and that's the competition and the competition you have with yourself with the golf course. It's tough, but it's a lot of fun. That's what we're all out here for.
Does Ben have any annoying habits out there that we should know about?
No, he has good habits. I try and putt like him, and I just try and stay up with him.
All right, Ben.
Keep his tempo.
All right, we'll see a lot of you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Al Troutwig. We're looking at this tremendous crowd around 18 now in the closing moments of this third round. We'd like to advise our stations that we're going past 7 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll give you a station break at 7 o'clock Eastern Time as we try and get all of these people in and locked up for the evening after the third round of this United States Open, which at this point looks like it can belong to any of 11 or 12 people. Back at 17, Nakajima, third shot on the par 4. Whoa, nicely done. And an interested onlooker there was Nicklaus, who has almost the same shot. Back at 16, Tom Watson on in 3 at the par 5. He's the leader. After a shaky start, steadied and has gotten the lead by himself at the moment. But let's go back to 17 for Nicklaus's third shot.
Jack, sometimes a shot like this, even though it's in the fairway, is much tougher to play than it is when it's in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ball sits so tight that you can't get the club underneath the ball.
And he'll have work for the par here, won't he? Now back to 16 and Watson. Stop. Oh, my. Well, we've had two different golf courses now, the first 2 days, and the golf courses it's played here the last few hours when the sun has come out.
Jack, it's a harder golf course when the sun's out and it dries this out. It really is. Better off where it's a little overcast and a little softer to play.
That's absolutely right, Dave. As we look down here at the 18th. And the brilliant sunshine that's now visiting this section of San Francisco. There's the 17th. And there's the 16th. Where Tom Watson has a rather difficult putt for par to hold his lead. Mark Wiebe will go first.
I'm sure Tom's scared him just a little bit.
I think so, yeah, Dave. Now Nicklaus at 17 for par. Stay at 3 over.
Big swing to his right here.
Go. Jack now at 4 over. 6 shots behind Watson.
Hard putt to make when you're having a tough day.
Scott Simpson has just birdied 18. He is now 1 under.
Jack.
Well, let's show you Scott Simpson a few moments ago at the 18th. That's where he put his second shot.
Now, he got off to a bad start today, too, and at one point, after starting at 1 under, got to 2 over, so 3 over for the round, and he fought back very well. Birdied 16, get to even for the tournament.
Sarah, 37-33. Around to 70, he's 1 under and right there.
Very tough putt here, Jack. If he lets this get away from him, it is so fast going down this hill with a big break. So, you just have to guard against. It's not a putt where you can really take a run at it. The fairway is not only tough, this green is, because it was designed for a par 5 and a shorter play into the green, like a pitching wedge or an iron or something.
Longer. All right, Tom Watson on your left here for par at the 16th to keep his lead at 2 under. And Longer on the right for par.
Tom's putting uphill.
Oh, yes. Well done.
Longer's a side hill.
Watson remains at 2 under. Now Longer trying to stay at even par.
Nicklaus is...
Yes, you want a little pad coming to 17, David, don't you?
Oh, yes. What about a 3-shot lead going to 17?
So Longer goes to +1.
Well,
All right, stations along the line. We're about to give you a station break. As we're waiting now for this last groups to move down the home stretch, and we'll be back here to show you the rest of the action after this word from your local station.
Cooney versus Spinks, Tyson versus Thomas, Friday night on ABC Sports.
This week on the 24th Saturday movie at 10:30, The Intern, starring Cliff Robertson and James McArthur.
Give it to me. I'll put it back. Listen, for once, do something for me, just for once, will you? We use that to save lives. Will you forget about that damn code of ethics?
We're not allowed the luxury of temper. You don't think much of surgeons, Doctor. Not as much as they do themselves. Aside from your degree from medical school, can you think of any reason why you should be called doctor?
The Intern, this week on the 24th Saturday movie at 10:30.
I feel I've been lucky all my life. But luck doesn't have anything to do with it at all.
711-875, David.
It's scary when I think about something happening to my child. If it wasn't for the car seat.
I love you, Mommy.
Save a heart. Buckle up your kids. This is 24 KVUE TV, your summer place.
Bernard Langer coming down this final hole. And what a struggle it's been over these this last 45 minutes or so for these top players at the end of the day. And he's a little anxious, and that's wide. Let's go down to Al Troutwig, who's got Scott Simpson with him. Al?
All right, Peter, we so frequently use the PGA Tour Media Guide to find out more about the players. The very first line about you, Scott, is that you are quietly going about your business all the time and letting your golf do the talking. On 18, that's exactly what you let yourself do.
Yeah, I had an interesting day today, really. It was first 6 holes I didn't hit a fairway or a green, and was 3 over. And after that, I just made a little change. I hit every green the rest of the way on in and hit it close, and it was nice to see that last putt go in.
Did it help you at all? I mean, there were so many big names atop the leaderboard when the day began. All the attention seemed to be focused on them. I'm sure a large part of the gallery was always drawn to them. Did that take a little of the attention away and a little of the pressure off of you to perform better today?
Oh, maybe a little bit. You know, I played with John Cook and Bob Eastwood, and we're, you know, not the big names. We're kind of sandwiched in between those guys. So, yeah, it might have made it a little easier, but, geez, we all started the day terrible. So, you know, maybe not. I don't know. But I was lucky to just get my game going.
You started as a caddy for your father when you were only 9 years old. I'm sure he's watching. What do you think he's thinking?
Oh, I think he's probably just beside himself with excitement. You know, he's a real good amateur player in San Diego, and he told me, so this course is suited to your game, because he's played here more than I have. And, you know, I think he's right. You know, the strength of my game is just consistency. It's hitting in the fairways and greens and making some putts, and so far it's been going real well.
Scott, thank you. Mr. Simpson, happy Father's Day. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Al, and so say all of us. 17th tee we're going to on videotape. We're going to show you the drive of Tommy Nakajima. Nakajima. 18. And he's just off the fairway. Well, there is the 18th green waiting for these great matadors. And what a funny old day it's been. Looking down the scoring sheets, the middle section of the day, there were 27 players. 12 of those 27 players were par or better. That was the middle section of the day. The first 27 players out this morning, only 4 of them were par or better. And so far, the last section, in which there was 24 players, we've only had 2 so far doing a round of par. So here's Tom Watson at the 17th. The leader. And has he kept it up too high? No, he hasn't. Oh, it took a big bounce. Friendly finger wagging at it. That was on videotape. And now just two threesomes left out on the course. And then the third round will be over. Here's the scores of those players, all the players that have completed their round so far in alphabetical order. Big move today by Ballesteros, although he dropped 2 strokes in the last 3 holes. Go right through the list, and somewhere along the way you'll pick out your favorite. These pictures from ABC going all around the world, in almost every country, certainly every country that plays golf, on satellites in the 4 corners. You'd be amazed how many people in the Arab Emirates watch the game of golf. Right through that neck of the woods, a tremendous amount of golfing interest. So there's Jack Nicklaus, 4 over par. Greg Norman, 5 over. Here's Jack, second for the 18th. He's had a bit of a rough old day.
He's got 125 yards, Peter, and he's using the 9-iron.
Good one. Steady. Steady. Nestle. Stop. Tremendous viewing area, the banks surrounding this 18th green, and the lovely clubhouse perched up on top. Well, there, somewhere in there, is a ball. This is Nakajima's second shot. He's only just off the fairway. Those trees are hanging over a bit ahead of him.
He's got the kind of a lie that he can't really judge. He can get it to the green if he judges it right.
Hit the tree, I think.
I believe he did, Peter.
It may have stayed in that tree. I never did see it work its way down.
Oh, Dave, was it you saying 153 balls dropped out of one branch there or something?
No, someone else did, but...
Dave, I think you're right. I think the ball may have stayed in the tree. I'm looking right at it and had a good view, and it never came down.
Oh, there's somebody shaking that tree limb up there. It may have stayed in that tree. There now, there's a bunch of people have climbed that tree.
Well, now we've got Frank Hannigan with us. Now, Frank, what happens? Here he is. He's hit his ball. We know it's up there. What happens?
Well, I guess, first of all, we better be sure that it didn't come down.
Just supposing it stayed up.
If it's up there, he would have to identify the ball in order to treat it as to have the advantage of calling it unplayable. Obviously, up in the tree, it's unplayable. If he can't identify it, then it's treated as a lost ball. There's really probably no practical way of identifying it.
Well,
so that means he's stuck with, he'd have to go back and drop it and play stroke and distance.
Well, what if it is stuck in the tree and they shake it down, the kids that are up there, Frank? That's just an outside agency, isn't it? I mean, he'd be, in a sense, lucky that they did that.
Yeah. If that happens, then the ball's been moved by an outside agency, and it can be treated as an unplayable lie because he would have identified it.
Okay. There's Langer's shot at the 18th and 17, and Watson, second leader of the championship. Can he chase it up onto the green? He most certainly can. Chases it too well. Through the back of the green. Oh, what a splendid day it's been. I've just remembered it's my daughter's birthday today, so sorry, darling, but happy birthday. The check's in the post. Another one of those famous sayings. Here's some more alphabetical scores for you. And a very satisfied Jack Nicklaus getting a wonderful round of applause, a standing ovation. Tremendous setting, and perched up above them is Jim McKay. Come in, Jim.
How often, Peter, would you see a man get an ovation like that? A man who is the process of shooting 76 or so. Only Jack Nicklaus, I think. 31 years after his first U.S. Open. In the beautiful setting of the Olympic Club in San Francisco. We're bringing them home in the final round, running over. If you've just joined us, a young man named Keith Clearwater went out and shot 64 many hours ago to tie the course record. Here are more alphabetical scores. Jim Thorpe just one over. He had sagged down. He went 5 over. He shot 40 on the front 9, in the process possibly of shooting 32 or 33 on the back. Let's check in with Ed Sneed. Now, what's the deal down there on the ball up in the tree?
Well, Jim, of course, it has been determined, or at least they believe the ball is in the tree, and because it has not come down. Now, they are trying to communicate to Tommy his options, which are the ones that Frank Hannigan pointed out. If he cannot identify this ball, it must be treated as a lost ball.
And he goes back to where he was.
Now, we have a young man that's bravely climbing the tree.
Frank Hannigan, could the young man identify it for him? Say the name and the number?
Well,
is that legal?
As David pointed out, if the young man was an outside agency.
No. But I mean, suppose he says this is a whatever number 4.
No, he could shake it. He could have to shake it down, and then Tommy could treat it as an unplayable rather than a lost.
So that the player must visually identify the ball himself. Is that it?
Player must identify the ball.
Well, they're cheering that kid on. I mean, that's the most excitement. You know, Mac O'Brady's ball almost stayed up there a little while ago from the same place that Nakajima was in.
Well, we're not speaking figuratively when we say that Tommy Nakajima's up a tree in this Open right now.
It's, on occasion, I've seen guys try to play the ball out of a tree or something. And,
is that it up there? No.
Well, it's got to be in one
can't
of those.
make it out. Way up in the tree. I hope he doesn't hurt himself.
Oh, he's having a ball of a lifetime. Are you serious?
What? That's how high up he is. What are the odds that this kid would be on national TV almost in prime time this Saturday night?
And his mother doesn't know where he is.
Well, maybe she does now and is scared to death.
Wait till I get him on.
If you've just tuned in, welcome to Wide World of Sports and the National Tree Climbing Championship. Boy, take it easy there, son.
Yeah, it wouldn't be funny if he did happen to
sure,
fall.
but he's almost up in the top of that. He's got to be 30, 35 feet off the ground. There's Tommy waiting to see what occurs. I don't think the lad sees the ball yet, certainly.
I think it came down a little farther down the tree than he is.
Yeah.
David, I think you're right. I saw the ball go into the tree. I don't believe it is that high. I think it's a few branches lower.
Frank, how long do we have here?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
That's it. Unless it's found or identified within 5 minutes, it's a lost ball. And that time is just about expired. I think we've got 15 or 20 seconds left.
Here's Tom Watson, meanwhile, on the 17th with this birdie attempt. Tom Watson, the leader in the championship by a single stroke.
Watch this putt, Jim. Think it's a break a little? Get on down there.
Didn't give it enough.
Well, it's not over yet.
No.
You're right. You didn't need too much more.
No. So he'll have an interesting putt for the par there to retain his lead in the U.S. Open. Watson, who won a single U.S. Open in 1982 when he chipped in on 17 at Pebble Beach to snatch it away from Jack Nicklaus. Winner of 5 British Opens, 2 Masters championships. Still looking for his first PGA, but he hasn't won a tournament in almost 3 years. Well, that's it. The ball is declared to be lost, it appears. And Tommy Nakajima, who led this championship alone about a half an hour ago, is now in serious trouble. He's even par for the championship, 2 strokes behind, but now he'll be hitting his 4th shot on this hole
and
when he goes back and drops it.
That's a long, embarrassing walk.
Oh, boy.
Back there.
Yep.
I mean, you don't often see, especially in a tournament, and it's the last hole, a man lose a golf ball.
Jim Thorpe at 17, fighting his way back, clawing his way into the championship after shooting 40 on the front 9. He's played extremely well on the back. Okay. It's a good putt, a very good putt.
That's one you just want a 2-putt and get on to the next hole.
Frank Hannigan, could Tommy Nakajima, before he went up to look in the tree, have hit a provisional ball from here to save all this time or not? Are you there, Frank?
Jim, you asked if Tommy could hit a provisional ball in order to save time. Yes, he could have, but I think the circumstance of leaving a ball in a tree with a short iron to the 18th hole in the U.S. Open is so unusual that you're really not likely to think about playing a provisional ball, are you?
No, you aren't, especially with all these people. Plus, to tell you how tough these trees are, Lanny Watkins stuck one in there with a driver on Thursday. So these trees will hold a hot shot, too.
Remember how we said at the beginning that lightning strikes at Olympic, and here's another example of it. It has struck Tommy Nakajima.
That's too bad. That is not a 1,000,000-to-1 shot, but certainly a long shot. Now watch this little putt right here, and it is swift. You can't be too aggressive here.
No, you can't. And hold it. That tap in is for the bogey 5. Tom Watson now drops down into a tie for the lead with Keith Clearwater and Scott Simpson, who quietly made his way around today.
You know what that's done to the pairings now? All right. He's big break to the left here. This is his third 3-putt of the day, by the way. But that was just something you see great players miss putts like this because you can't hit it hard enough to start it on just the line you want to do. Anyhow, if they finish as they are now, that means the last group, if Mr. Clearwater is ready for this, he and Scott Simpson playing last tomorrow.
That's right. That's right, because they finished first at 1 under.
And they pair 1-2.
Yep.
He jumped about 59 or 60 players today with that round.
He was tied for 56. I counted him down when the day began. He only made the cut by 2 shots. And he will be in the last group tomorrow, unless Tom Watson birdies the last hole.
Well, Clearwater will still be in the last group.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, he still will be. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, no matter what. Now, back at 17 to Mark Wiebe. Now, Wiebe was tied for the lead when the day began. He is now at 2 over for the championship and 5 over on today's round. Make that 6 over on today's round.
Oh, man. You know, I was just going to say, but by no means out of it because Tom has just come back toward him.
Yep.
He'd have been within 3 shots of the lead.
Yep, he's still only 4 shots out. Only 4 out. Watson, Clearwater, and Simpson by 1 over Nakajima and Clemens, but Nakajima's going to go worse than that. And by 2 shots over Longer and Jim Thorpe and Ben Crenshaw and Seve Ballesteros and Larry Mize. All those guys within 2 shots. Now, Nakajima putting for a 5. Jim Thorpe made his par at 17, remains at 1 over for the championship.
Well, that's the second unusual thing we've seen happen to Nakajima.
Wait till tomorrow. You're referring back to the sands of Nakajima at St. Andrews, yeah. When he was on the green in 2, putted into the bunker and made 9. All right, there's the 6. 2 over par in this hole for Tommy Nakajima, which drops him back to 2 over for the championship, a round of 74 today.
That's too bad. That's very unlucky there.
Now, Longer. Good break. No, didn't get far enough.
That's a lot steeper than you can imagine going up there.
So, if you've just tuned in and you're looking for another program than the one you're watching, this is the United States Open Golf Championship. They were forced to play in threesomes rather than the usual groups of 2 today because of the fact that 77 players made the cut rather than the expected 60 in ties. Anybody within 10 shots of the lead made the cut, and that's the reason. Tomorrow they'll play in groups of 2. All right, there's a par 4 for Bernhard Longer. Brings him in at 1 over for the championship, 3 over for the day, a round of 73. Now Jack Nicklaus. Nicklaus started the day 2 under. He's now 4 over. Par here. will give him a round of 76. A birdie, 75.
You know, I was told that due to the slope of the green, they only single cut this green instead of the normal double cut. So putting up this hill, the players might have a little trouble getting it to the hole. They've been used to faster greens.
And it's still plenty fast if you're above the hole, Ed. Let's below the hole and see if it settles there.
Yep. Needing this putt now for the 76.
Because we saw Russ Cochran, he had about a 10-footer for birdie and just barely touched it and rolled about 15 or 20 feet by the hole.
That's Russ Cochran, the left-hander who was in contention when the day began, but he shot 81 today.
Ooh.
Seen that stare for 21 years in the Opens at ABC. He
Right,
played in 31, huh?
This was your first, right?
And our first one was right here. Yeah. Round of 76 for Jack Nicklaus. He's 4 over par, 5 shots out of the lead. As of now, not impossible, but it's going to be tough. With Nakajima and Bernhard Langer, Japanese and German golfers, and the American who's probably the greatest golfer of all time. Tommy can still run up that hill after long 18 holes.
And I bet you Bernhard can, too.
If he wanted to, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Headed for the scorer's tent where they'll have to check it out themselves, as you must know by now. Responsible for your own scorecard. Slightly discouraged look on Jack's face. But he will return. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, it seems.
And I'm glad, too, because of what he's done and given and shown.
And there they are, checking it out in the USGA tent. Tomorrow, of course, the final round of the 87th U.S. Open, live from the Olympic Club right here in San Francisco, starting at 3:30 Eastern. We're scheduled to go to 8 o'clock Eastern. Of course, if they should run longer, we'll do that. So we'll be right bumping up against the prime time tomorrow night. And it should really be something with so many. Tom Watson on the 18th hole. This is on tape. On this final hole, it's just 343 yards, and you're hitting downhill. But the green is the problem here.
Once you've gotten it in the fairway, the green
Yeah.
is the problem.
That's right. In either rough, you've got a major problem. It's
Yes, I saw it happen, Bob. Yeah, they're getting one right now.
Okay, Bob Rosberg on the fairway was talking about Jim Thorpe. What were you talking about there, Ross?
Yes, Thorpe hit a shot and weighted in the left-hand rough, and as it was moving, it was caught by a little boy.
Oh, yeah.
They yelled at him, and he got a little excited and threw it back. So,
all right.
I think, Frank Hannigan, how about that?
It's Hannigan time again.
Threw it back which way?
Well, this is overtime now. That is, of course, an outside agency has stopped or deflected the ball.
Yes.
Now, this is almost invariably in golf, referees deal just in question of fact. Now you're dealing with a question of judgment. The referee has to, in his wisdom, decide where he thinks the ball would have gone if the outside agency had not purposely deflected it, and have Thorpe drop the ball there.
All right. That's Frank Hannigan, the senior executive director of the USGA, and if he doesn't know the rules, I don't know who does.
There's another man that knows the rules. They're Bill Williams of the USGA.
Oh, yeah, the president. Let's go down to Al for a moment.
All right, Jim, I'm with Bernhard Langer. Bernhard, you seem to have as much trouble as many golfers out there today finding the right range with the putter.
Yeah, I saw the greens were a lot worse than the first 2 days. They were really spiked up, and you saw a lot of footprints. The ball was bouncing a lot, and therefore it didn't go a regular speed, never went the same speed, and never stayed on line. I only made 1 putt on the first hole, and that was it.
I know golfers are rarely happy with the way they play, but were you satisfied?
I thought I hit the ball pretty good from tee to green, probably better than the first 2 days, but I never was able to make a putt the last 17 holes. Therefore, my score was a lot higher than the first 2 days.
Well, you're only within a couple of strokes, depending on what happens, of the lead for tomorrow, and that should be very exciting for you.
Well, there's a lot of players still within 4 or 5 shots, and therefore it's going to be a
very exciting day tomorrow, and there's still going to be 20, 30 players, maybe more, with a good chance to win. You just saw what Keith Clearwater did today, so anybody can jump up and grab it.
You've been in a position on a Sunday morning in a major championship where at the end of the day you wind up the champion. Is there any special feeling, any special preparation that you do prior to a fourth round, a Sunday, in a championship like this?
No, there's nothing different as any other day. You're probably a little bit more nervous because you know every shot's going to count, but also counts the first few rounds, so it's really not that much different. The pressure is a little bigger, and that's probably usually why some of the players who won before usually come through again and win.
What might the headline for your performance be in German tomorrow in the German newspapers?
I have no idea. I don't spend much time in Germany anymore, so I don't get to read the German papers much. But it depends very much on the paper, if it's conservative or whether it's kind of crazy. So I don't know.
All right, Bernhard, good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, we've had a decision now. Rossi, what's going on? He's dropped the ball twice, hasn't he?
Yes, Jim, he dropped the ball twice, and it ran more than 2 club lengths or 1 club length. It ran way down the hill, so he got to place it. He really got a tremendous break. He's in a perfect lie now, and I don't think that the ball would have come to rest up in that area unless the kid had grabbed it. I think it would have come down into the thicker rough.
But that was the best judgment of the officials on the scene, is that right?
It definitely was the correct judgment, yes.
Right.
Here's Tom Watson from 115 yards.
Tie for the lead with Keith Clearwater and Scott Simpson. You don't want to get above this hole. And I think he has. Yes, he has. Well, it's going to come back.
What it does here, it doesn't